Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of ParaMindful. I am one of your co-hosts, Melball Collins. Over there is Alex the Werewolf, and down there is the gold standard, Karl. Karl, how are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I think that this is a prime opportunity for us to have a good discussion around,
Mm-hmm.
well, you guys already know.
Yes, some spooky ooky-ish. Alex, how are you doing today?
I am doing very well.
Oh,
It's Friday of a long weekend, and I don't work, so winner, winner.
I was gonna say that would probably explain why the gym was so empty today.
Oh yeah, well everybody has trying to get some sort of camping or something barbecue or whatever going on, right?
Hey, works for me. It means I don't have to fight anybody for gym equipment. Not that I am like built with a stature to do so.
Fair enough.
And that's pretty much how I'm doing. I'm not having to fight people at the gym for equipment, so that's pretty good.
That's
And that being,
fantastic. Working on your roundhouses just in case.
I mean, we do have kickbags there now.
Yeah,
So,
there you go.
but no, because I'm working on my balancing so that I stop falling up the stairs. So far, I think we are having some success. So that's a winner.
Victory, victory,
Huge
victory.
win.
And as Karl mentioned, we have an interesting discussing session for you this time. But before we get into that, we want to have a little word from our sponsors, which is Rogue Energy. That is the ultimate energy drink, zero sugar, zero fillers, 5 calories, packed with essential vitamins, and loaded with apparently brain enhancing nootropics at optimal levels. We have a lot of flavors to offer from Rogue Energy. And Karl, you have a fancy pants video that we love to show because it feels all bougie. Let's show them all the new flavors and stuff that Rogue has for us. I really hope that Karl could see me just rocking out in the video in the backstage area.
Oh, yes.
Ah, tremendous. Tremendous. Anywho, as Karl mentioned, I say again for the second time, we have a fun discussion coming up for you guys. Aliens. Just put it right out there. Aliens. Apparently they exist. And apparently shocking. Our government knew about it. Oh, who would have thought? We
Well,
getting all the sarcasm out of there.
if we're gonna get technical, they didn't admit that there was aliens. They came that close though. They never said the
Not in
word
so many
alien.
words, but
They also didn't say extraterrestrial. They said non-human biologics, which
Right.
I'm going to talk about in a little bit because it means something that you don't think it means.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
wow. Then
I
we
know
will
that
just hop on there with you, Alex. Do you believe aliens are real?
I 100% believe they exist. I 100% believe that they're already here. I'm not I'm not sure if I'm the believer of the aliens are walking in public and stuff like that. I don't think that's a thing. I mean, I could be wrong, but I do believe
I
that
don't think they
there's
faced off someone just walking around in someone's skin all MIB style.
right, right. But I think that there's too much. Well, now there's too much evidence to just show that there is stuff going on underwater in the oceans and stuff. There are too many videos showing them coming out of like volcanoes and things that would lead to inside the earth as well. So And I'm not a proponent of the hollow earth theory, but it is possible that there are giant caverns that we don't know about yet. So what about you,
They're
Mel? Do you
still
believe?
discovering caverns underwater.
100%. 100%
So
they are.
yeah,
Yep. Yep. What
Heck,
about
we're
you,
still
Mel?
discovering caverns up here, let alone down there.
And that's the thing, right? Is we don't know. We don't know what the lava tubes look like. We don't know if there's old lava tubes. Like go to Hawaii and even just on the big island of Hawaii itself, out by Kona, there is all the time there's like cave-ins and stuff for lava tubes that haven't been flowing lava for like a whatever 2,000 years or whatever, and they just collapse. You know what I mean? So they're always
Mm,
finding new stuff. So
Not gonna lie, like I know you love the Hawaiian Islands and stuff like that,
don't
but
you
like
dare,
the
don't do it.
closest volcano that I've ever been to was Vesuvius, and like the anxiety that you had just hiking up the dang thing, first of all, and then you get to the top of it, and you're like, why is it smoking?
Well, here's the thing. So there's different types of volcanoes, right? So
Hmm.
Hawaii with like Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa, they don't tend to burst out and have like super fast flowing lava. They're very large. They've been blown up already, so it just kind of like oozes
Hmm.
out. What you got to be worried about is Yellowstone National Park, which is a
Yes, I
caldera, which is
believe
a
that.
massive volcano that just hasn't blown up yet. Or I guess erupted. We don't want to say blow up. I don't say blow up at work either. That's
I
bad
think we're
words.
actually a little out of their like blast range, but we would definitely be affected by the
See,
fallout.
but the
That's for
thing is,
sure.
we don't know how bad it would be because it's a caldera. It's not a normal volcano, right? But
I'd
anyways,
like to think we're
that's
out of it.
that's something altogether different. What about you, Mel? Do you believe in aliens? And are they
Based on
here?
the things that I have seen, even just standing on my back porch here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm also right next to a military base, so I don't know if it's them or them. At this point, it's probably both. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, because you're out
Um,
by what is that, Greaseba, right? Or
yeah,
Nemeo,
yep, the
Nemeo, I should
Edmonton
say.
here.
Yeah, so that's
Um,
that's lots of helicopters which fly slowly through the sky, but
yeah, yeah,
right.
I've seen
but
helicopters, I've seen fighter jets,
yep,
I've
for sure.
seen Hercules.
Yep,
Um, I've seen a lot of aircraftery, but
your craftery.
mm,
Ooh,
yes,
fancy.
but lately I've been seeing like interesting series of lights in the
Right, and
skies.
I'm not discounting what you're seeing at all. I'm just saying that the base by your
Yeah, but
residence
I'm saying
is
I
yeah.
don't think that a Hercules can be like
No,
a couple different lights that
nope.
spread out,
Yeah, no,
come
no.
fly all over the place, come back together in a
That's not,
no.
yeah, no, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean for it to sound like I wasn't believing you. I was just saying that for the people who don't know, Nemeo is they have I guess, a squadron, I suppose, of helicopters. So
They do,
yeah,
yes.
I don't know if it's
And
called a
they
squadron though.
they
I'm not
are
in the military.
constantly flying.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
because I live no,
constantly.
for those of you in the not know, I live north of where Mel lives.
Mhm,
A while north, we'll say what 45 minutes, something like that. Anyways, 40 minutes.
mhm,
And I see them. So
mhm, mhm.
Hmm.
Carl, what is your opinion on aliens? Are they real or are they not real?
It is all absolute real.
no, I thought you were gonna say bullshit. I was like, man, I can't talk. I can't talk to you anymore.
It is all absolute real in my head, anyways.
Mhm,
Just things that I've seen, experienced, and so if you guys are living underneath of a rock, okay, so this whole episode came about because of information that was brought out from like military officials brought to a hearing with people who were there. They were under oath giving all of this testimony and information. And that's why we're kind of talking about this today. And if you have not seen that, find it because it definitely is out there available for you. And we're not talking like it's out there. I want to believe. No, no, no. This is like it's out there for anyone to access.
This is the real
Free
X Files.
platforms. I can't not believe it. So I'm a person who enjoys meditation and being kind of outside in the evening time and just looking up. And to know that there is just so much that is out there and how far that could reach, when we're talking about them having information on, these different planets that are out in the solar system that I can't see. So if I can't see these planets that they say are there, then
Right.
how can I not believe that there could be some sort of civilization or
Mhm.
entities that are out there? That's just me, though. And I know a
Yeah.
lot of people feel very differently about it.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
believe it's all real.
Right.
Mhm. Mhm. Very valid, because yeah, a lot of people, and especially like in regards to this, a religious kind of background will usually come in to object to this, and and to some extent, we may be able to almost say that they're almost the same thing. I mean, I'm kind of that person who kind of feels like they could sort of be the same thing. A little
Right.
controversial, but it's how I feel. Um, Alex, do we feel that these beings, as you mentioned, coming out of volcanoes, coming out of caverns and stuff, do we think that they're coming out of these caverns because they're hiding within our kind of Earth, or do we think that they're coming from other areas and there's like little portal thingies in there?
I don't know if I subscribe to the alien porthole thing. I said porthole again. Remember, throwback to our first episode. I don't know if I subscribe to the portal and alien thing. I'm not
Okay.
sold. I'm not. I'm kind of like neutral right now. I personally believe that there are, I guess you could call them packs or groups or whatever, factions. I don't know what it would be, but underground and in the ocean, in bodies of water, large bodies of water. I, okay, so there's a dude, and last name's Drake. He came out with the Drake equation in like the early 60s, 60, 61, something like that. And it was basically like, I'm going to obviously butcher this, but it was basically if you were to take the number of habitable planets in a given volume of the universe, and then you take that and you multiply it by like the chances of like technologically advanced groups or whatever, you know what I mean? Anyways, he came out with like in our solar system alone, or in our galaxy, I should say, alone, it's like 50 million habitable planets or some shit like that could possibly have. It was like, yeah. So I don't have the direct numbers. I'm not looking at it or anything, but it was like he was like, if you take how many planets we think there are in the system, and you take 1% of those, and that has intelligence or life on it, you can take 1% of that 1% that's got intelligence on it, like in smart things. That number is still astounding. But then you think about how the universe is ever expanding, which also is a mind blasting thing. That we'd be very, oh, what's the word? I don't want to say stupid. We'd be very naive to think that there could be nothing else. Even when you have, like I say, I can only speak from the Roman Catholic point of view because that's all I ever was. Even they're coming out and saying like, hey, you know what, we can't put a limit on God's creation. If you subscribe to that belief system, you can't put a limit on God's creation. So who says God didn't create aliens or whatever, right? Myself, I feel like we are, I don't know if we'd be hybrids, but I almost subscribe to the idea that the aliens started stuff here, and then they're like, we're gonna see what happens, and then we started killing each other. Like, fuck it, let's wash our hands of this stuff. Let's see what happens. We still use the planet for water or whatever they're gathering here, but let's not let them completely destroy it. And if you think about it, we're at that kind of like apex right now where everybody's pissed off at everybody. You have countries who are pissed off at their own countrymen, like countries that shouldn't be. Like the United States of America, no offense, my American buddies, it's not as strong as it used to be. People are going batshit, you know. Even here in Canada, they're going batshit. But you take the wild ones, let's say, like Russia and North Korea, they have their fingers on these very, very powerful weapons that not only would destroy other people, but would also destroy them, and they're still willing to use them, you know? So I think they're watching. I think that's what's kind of culminating here. Just my opinion.
Interesting. Interesting. Carl, what do you think about that? Do you think these guys are here and watching us and waiting for us to implode, or maybe keeping us from imploding?
I never thought about it that way. I never thought about it as maybe we're just the test subjects, as opposed to we're looking for subjects to test on, as
Mhm,
many believe, right?
mhm.
Do they say that we have non human entities? You know, they kind of do say that. They have said that. And, you know, it's always been something that we've said, oh, yeah, we're testing on them. This puts a whole different perspective into things if we're the ones that are being tested on.
Mhm.
This, oh, dude, Alex. Okay, I've scared Mel in the past. You've scared me now. This
Oh.
is wow. And I don't get scared often.
No, and you know what?
Ooh.
I don't know if it's anything to be afraid of because at the end of the day, we can't do anything either way. You know, I'm not saying we're a genetic experiment. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that maybe it was like I think the term is a zoo planet, kind of like let's terraform this planet, terraform Earth, we'll say,
Mm-hmm.
so that they have lots of trees to be able to clean the carbon dioxide out of the air, which will create clouds and all that stuff. And then we'll have water. It'll be a hugely water planet because we need water for whatever our plants are. You know what I mean? And they're like, you know what? Let's see what happens with this. You know, I'm not like I said. I'm not saying that we were made in a beaker or anything, but
Right.
because evolution, baby.
Right.
Hmm.
But
But
yeah,
it's just something to think about. Yeah.
yeah, it definitely does. 100%. It's got me
Yeah.
thinking. It's got me thinking about
Mhm.
that entire. Okay, so like this is not our home.
Right.
This is someone else's home that we're
That's
just
that's what I
the
believe. And
caretakers of. We're the gardeners of this place.
yeah, and I believe that like
Yeah.
the old civilizations are kind of proven. Like there's things that are like in Puma Punku, for example, in Peru. I think it's Peru, whatever. But like even Egypt or Teotihuacan, you know what I mean? There's a lot of old school places that we can't create nowadays with lasers, let alone
Right.
what we say is like copper tools and stuff. First of all,
Mhm.
if you go to Egypt and you try to carve their stones with copper tools, do you know how many copper tools you're going to go through? Copper is a very soft metal, very
Mhm.
Yeah.
soft. So if you're going to tell me that you're carving thousands upon thousands of tons worth of blocks, you know what I mean? I don't know. I
Mhm.
did want to just kind of interject with the Drake equation here. This is a Drake equation
Yeah.
like dumbed down. It's a
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
method. It's a method of estimating the number of detectable civilizations that might exist in the Milky Way galaxy, just alone, Milky Way. Originally put forth by astronomer Frank Drake, the equation involves 7 factors: the rate of star formation per year in the galaxy, the percentage of stars that form planets, the average number of planets for each star that has planets with conditions suitable for life. And I think he's only talking about our type of life. So it doesn't mean that like there could be whatever human beings that could breathe acid air, who knows. And then excuse me. So where was I here? You're right. The percentage of those planets of which life occurs, like it might be perfect, but no life, but this life has to occur on this one. The percentage of those planets where intelligence develops, so not just dumb, whatever, amoeba or whatever, and the percentage of species that produce interstellar communication, and the average lifetime of a communicating civilization. So, what do we got here? It doesn't go any further, but I remember the number being, and it was just absolutely absurd. I'm like, how is it like? And these are intelligent civilizations, right? So it's
Mhm.
like we could have millions of habitable planets that have things on them, and we just don't know because we don't have the technology to get there, or we do have the technology and we're just hiding it from the public. Who knows?
So now I just want to make sure so that this intelligent, this habitable is going to be a life form, not
Yes,
just like a vegetation
that's
life.
correct. So the Drake
Okay.
equation takes into account intelligent civilizations. So
Okay.
intelligent civilizations that are capable of interstellar communication, not just
Wow.
planets or water planets or yeah.
Right.
So and it's all theoretical, obviously, but I mean, if you take 1% of 1% of 1%, that's a pretty big number that you're still getting. Then that's pretty good
Right.
odds, you know. So
Hey, we have all this technology,
yep.
guys. You communicate with us. I don't care. Send me some messages.
But who says they
We
aren't?
have the
Ah,
technology.
true.
So I don't know if you guys have ever. This is a little tangent. Have you guys ever heard of the WoW signal?
No.
The only WoW I know is World of Warcraft.
It's not that. I just want to make sure. So yeah, it's called the WoW signal. I just don't remember if it was from SETI or not, so I'm gonna have to just
Okay.
No,
Google here.
no,
Yeah, so the
definitely
WoW
for
signal is a strong narrowband radio signal detected on August 15th, 1977 by the Ohio State University's Big Ear radio telescope in the United States. Basically what happened
Oh,
is
I might have heard about this, but I don't think I knew it as that title.
so the signal appeared to come from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius and bore expected hallmarks of extraterrestrial origin. And they have the picture of it. The reason why it's called the WoW signal is that there was the astronomer who was listening effectively to this radio signal, and then it changed. And he wrote "wow" with an exclamation point on that portion of, because it's all just numbers and stuff, right?
Mm.
Right.
So yeah, but they've never been able to recreate it or find it again. So the easy explanation is like, oh, it was just the interference of this or whatever, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, but if it's interference, then I'm like, well, it would have happened many times before, you know, or after, you know. So
True.
and it's never
That
happened
is
again.
true.
So,
So is
but if you,
that something similar to like the buzzer?
what do you mean? I don't know what the buzzer is.
So the buzzer had like it's almost like a the UVB-76. I don't know if maybe you know it is that.
No.
So it's a radio station known as the buzzer in both English and
Oh,
Russian.
okay, yeah.
The first voice transmission came through 1997 to apparently 2010, and the station itself identifies as UBZ or UZB 76. But there's absolutely nothing that happens on it except a bunch of static that every once in a while some different like things come through it.
So I know what this is. They call them signal stations.
Okay.
They still don't know what the point of signal stations are, but some theories include like to help spies. So the spies will listen at a certain time, and then certain words are uttered that make no sense to nobody else, but it makes sense on a code sheet. There's
Okay.
several of them. There's ones that play music. There's ones that play tones. There's ones that speak in Russian. There's a whole bunch of different ones. Very, very interesting if you're ever interested in reading that. But yeah, so
So totally different though.
yeah. So what they have is, if you can imagine, like a. Have you ever seen a picture of? I think it's SETI. I think Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. Anyways, they work with. There's like a huge farm of satellites that are aimed in the sky all at the same place, and they try to listen for stuff. But yeah, it's different. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay. That's I mean, it's something that I've kind of heard about before that I wanted
Yeah.
to ask because it sounded very similar to
Yeah.
me.
No.
So
And just before we go on, I want to point out that the WOW signal is a radio frequency, right? So it's a radio signal.
okay.
Basically, by the time we get that radio signal, wherever it came from could be anywhere now, because radio signals do not travel as fast as light, obviously.
Right.
And so it would take time to come. Say it came from Sagittarius, it would come from Sagittarius system to us. How long does that take? If we were going light years, who knows? Say 38 light years away. That's a distance, not a speed, just for you folks. How long does it take for radio waves to travel that many light years? You know what I mean? So that civilization could have been dead a million years ago and we never would have known about it until that signal came in, and maybe that's why we don't hear from him anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Right.
we're firing off signals into space as well with radio waves, or we have. I don't know if we still are, but at the end of the day, it's really, really old and archaic. And if we really wanted to do something and like contact them, we'd be using lasers, that kind of deal. So,
Okay.
science.
Right.
Sorry, guys,
Not a Melball strong suit.
I got, I got on a little tangent there, but I find this stuff super, super interesting. So,
Right. No, definitely.
So, moving on from here, Karl, do we feel that the things that might be here based on the explanation of these experts, do we think that these things are like the intergalactic demons, or do we think, or demons, beings, or do we think that
Freudian
these
slip.
are, I mean, we don't know really, right? Um, and the intentions anyway. Do we think that these are like coming from our galaxy and kind of like our existence of being, or do we think that maybe some of these things are interdimensional, coming from another plane of existence?
So I do have that information for you. Unfortunately, I cannot speak to that in a public forum, and that could be something behind closed doors.
Nicely played. For those of for those of you who don't know, who didn't watch it, that was very much the answer that I think it was Ryan. Was it Ryan Graves or
I
David
think it
Grush?
was. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, Gersh. Gersh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Grush. So he is a whistleblower, and he came out, but he came out the legal way so that he wouldn't get arrested, and so he's only allowed to say certain things
Yeah.
up to a certain point in a live kind of like everybody's going to hear this, so I can't let government secrets go. But if you talk to me in this private room where it's not filmed, you can have several people there, just no access to filming it or anything.
Yeah.
I can tell you. So he's like, I cannot tell you, or sorry, I cannot speak to that in this room. I will be able to speak to it in the. He had a specific word for it.
Yeah,
but
he did. I can't even remember what it was.
yeah,
I
it was
like
really
mine
good though.
better.
That's right. That was really good.
Um,
Oh.
intergalactic. Yeah, I think definitely it could be. People are always claiming to see something in the sky. So I don't know of anybody that has perfected a machine that can be underwater and then up in the sky as well. Um, that would be cool, I think. All
The
right,
space
awesome.
submarines,
But,
the air subs.
right, like Zeppelin tried, but I mean, there just wasn't, there isn't anything like that that I'm aware of. So,
Right.
of course, if there's things that people are seeing in the sky that are flying, then yeah, I would figure so that they're going to be something that's, outside of this dimension and possibly into another dimension,
Right.
interdimensional. But we still haven't found those other dimensions per se,
Yeah.
right? So it's really hard. It's really difficult to, kind of have those thoughts and those answers. But I open up my mind a little bit and I kind of allow information that I'm reading to kind of sit there, credible information. I'm not going to take the guy on the corner with the sign that's saying,
Right.
aliens are coming, put on your hats, right? But for those that are in a credible type of a situation, I would probably think it over and open up my mind to it. And
Right.
because of that, that's what I've done. And yeah, I think interdimensional definitely is something. The girlfriend, and I were talking about it the other day, and she says, well, what if they're here to hurt us? And I'm like,
They might
so
be.
early cases have been from like the 1940s. So if they wanted to do something, I think they probably would have already.
Right.
And I think we're pretty safe.
That's kind of
But-
why I lean towards like the zoo planet idea.
Right. Which makes a
Because
lot of sense now.
there's lots of stories from like biblical times and stuff where people for example, there's a story called Ezekiel's wheel in the book of, I don't remember what it is, whatever. It's part of the Apocrypha. For those who don't know, it's
Yeah,
the
I believe
part of
it was in
Job,
Matthew or
whatever it was.
yeah.
It's part of the Bible that was taken out. And he talks about it's a flaming wheel that came down from the sky, basically. So it's lots of things like that. There's paintings of things that have happened. You know what I mean? Like people painted what they saw. Yeah, but I want to stress for those who are religious that this does not negate the fact that there is a God or isn't a God. It does not make it either way.
Right.
Believing in aliens is not, I shouldn't even say aliens, extraterrestrials it's not a religion ruiner, unless you're very, very fundamental. And if you're very, very fundamental, you're probably not watching this YouTube channel, to be honest with you.
Right.
But it doesn't negate, because something has to create everything, right? In theory, and if that's your religion, then if it's Allah or God or whoever, then Xenu, if you're a Scientologist, hail Xenu. Just kidding, guys. I'm not a Scientologist.
And Ezekiel's wheel was
Yeah.
from the book of Ezekiel.
Is that what it was? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I just looked it up real quick because I
Yeah.
was like,
It's very
Yeah.
bizarre, though. Yeah, but it's part of the Bible called the Apocrypha, and it's
Yeah.
several books that were taken out. And they say they were taken out because it just kind of reiterated stories or whatever, but who knows? And they found
my
these
Bible
things.
still has them.
Oh, do they really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, mine does.
They found it's the Dead Sea Scrolls, effectively, right? It basically showed us what was taken out.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
So what about Ezekiel's wheel though? Like to like what in that really kind of gave us a little bit of insight in a
Oh,
like perspective of
so obviously back in the day, Jesus' time or Ezekiel's time, let's say. I don't know if they're the same time. I have no idea. No airplanes. So the only thing you could say is, oh, that's a fiery chariot in the sky, or the angels are flying through the sky, or a fiery bird. Was it the Mayans who had the flying serpents? You know what I
Right.
mean? You have to come across, if you see something that you don't know, you're like, oh, that kind of reminds me of whatever, a flying koi fish, or you know what I mean? You have to work it in your brain as being something you know, right? It's not like you can say like, oh, that was a flying saucer, because they had no idea what a saucer was, right?
Right.
In fact, the term saucer only came from I think it was Kenneth Arnold, who was a pilot who saw UFOs in whatever the 50s or whatever it was, and he called them flying saucers. That's where it came from, because they looked like teacup saucers, and he calculated the speeds at like thousands of miles an hour or whatever it was. So anyways,
Yeah.
so I think instead of looking at things from our lens, we have to now we have to frame our vision from what they would have known. And I'm not calling them stupid, because they weren't stupid back then. Their frame of reference was very different than what we have. For the fact that I'm talking to you, Karl, and you're 2 time zones ahead of me on the east side of Canada, and I'm on the west side of Canada. You know what I mean? It's mind blasting. They didn't have that, So their frame of reference is far, far smaller. We have been exposed to so much technology and all that stuff that anything is possible for us, and I feel like maybe our minds are more open because of that, right? So it's easier for us to explain, or I guess explain to ourselves, kind of like describe what we saw, as
Right.
opposed to what they had. So because their list would be smaller.
And for us, it's been a quick technological boom. I'm older than Google,
Yep.
right? So I'm on the 10th, I turned 42.
10th of
I'm
August?
older than Google,
It's my nephew's birthday. Nice.
right? Nice.
Wait, what day?
August
The
10th.
10th, August 10th.
That's Andre C's birthday too.
Yes, it is.
Jeez. Me and Karl having this chat over the mouse, like, yeah.
Yeah, right. Sorry,
have to-
Mel. Sorry. This has become the Alex and Karl show today for
right.
some reason.
Hey, that I'm just here to keep you guys within the rails.
Right. Well,
And,
Shout out, bless
and
me
I
out, Bobby
appreciate
Munson,
that.
Craig Bears.
yeah, you're
That's
doing a great
right.
job.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, like our technological boom, it really hasn't been
Nope.
a big one. I guess we could say it hasn't been very long.
We'll
I
say
would say it's only been the
like
last
150 years, say, you know?
Yeah. If that even. I mean, for the technology that we have, like
Right.
for today
Yeah.
type of thing, like these things,
I was about to say, yep.
right? Like this thing here, I can do everything I need to. I can look up whatever I want in
You have
the
every
matter of
piece-
seconds.
Every piece of information that's ever been created is now in your hands in
Yeah.
a little box, which is
Right? And those
insane.
things are only like the last 20 years, 22 years. I remember playing outside at one time, riding my bikes around, playing
With
in
a
the
stick.
rain. Yep. I
Drinking
had
from the
sticks.
hose.
Drinking from the
Oh,
hose,
yeah.
yeah.
Drinking from the hose was the best,
The
man.
best. That was the best water.
Right?
What about you, Mel? What's your opinion? Extraterrestrial, interdimensional,
I mean,
whatever else there could be?
we've been finding some spooky shit in the ocean, which makes me question, is it just super old or is it coming through something in there? Because, I've mentioned before in past videos, we're kind of like, we have these movies, these fantastical fantasy movies that are just kind of created. And it's like, oh, no, it's not real. But it's like, you've got to remember there's some seed, some kernel, some molecule of truth to that. So my head goes, where's the truth in Pacific Rim?
Can I interject on that one? Because I know something very interesting that actually would go to
He
prove your
knows
point.
something.
Which would go to prove your point.
Oh,
So
I like my points being proven.
it has been proven, it's 100% legit that the CIA has
Treasure?
and had an office in I think it was the Universal Studio, wherever it was. It was in Hollywood, and they are often interjecting themselves into scripts and saying, "Yeah, you're not allowed to talk about that. You're not allowed to talk to that." So there's the theory out there that movies have been trickling information to us, so that when there is finally a release, like look at it now. They're just like, yeah, there's shit in the sky that we don't know where they are. They're flying faster than we ever could. They're stopping on a dime after Mach 2. We don't know what they are. And people are like, oh, who gives a shit? Because they've trickled out so much information, right?
We are conditioned.
So on your point of Pacific Rim, who's to say that the whole thing of Pacific Rim didn't happen, you know?
It would be terrifying to know that there were giant
Right.
alien things coming through a
Right.
random portal deep
Yeah, and-
within.
But yeah, that's just going to prove like your theory is definitely possible, right? Because if they're leaking out information, like there's it's an anecdote, I suppose. It's not it's not never been proven, but Steven Spielberg premiered E.T. for, I want to say it was oh shit, what the hell's the name? One of the presidents, whatever it was. I'm Canadian, so I know prime ministers. Anyways, at the end of it, it is reported to have been said to Steven Spielberg, "You have no idea how close you got it." And then this is an anecdote from Steven Spielberg, by the way. And before he had a chance to kind of like, well, what the hell did you mean? The Secret Service took him out of the room and stuff. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but if it's legit, then, you know.
Right? Wow.
So,
Wow.
anyways, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Mel. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. So there's got to be some kind of kernel of something there. And that
Yeah.
kind of also goes back into the conversation that you and I were having earlier in the week, where you showed me these images of things coming out of volcanoes and stuff. And it's not the deep ocean, but it kind of made me go, if these things are coming out of the volcanoes as they are erupting, are they erupting because the thing is coming through them? Are they
Yeah.
erupting because something has opened up to cause the thing to erupt?
See,
Or is the eruption causing the thing to just be like, wee, and escape? Because, like, I don't know.
I was thinking about
Uh,
that after I brought that up to you, and I'm thinking that it's just kind of like a, oh shit, it's erupting. We just got to move. You know what I mean?
mm,
Because think about how many things we've seen in the sky, right? And if they were, just say they were only from volcanoes, how many volcanoes would be going off all the time, right? So I just think like maybe it's
I feel like we're not like aware of how much is erupting
that
also.
that's also a thing,
I
right?
mean,
So
because I feel like again, going back to the Pacific, I feel like that place is just a
yeah,
constant just explosion of
yeah.
things that are
Well,
typically going off
they
there.
say it's like 7% of the oceans have been explored. So we're sitting a pretty
Yeah,
hefty percentage that nobody knows what the hell's going on. So
exactly.
yeah,
So are the things that we're seeing in the sky intergalactic? Most likely, but do I also think that there could be interdimensional things coming from up above also, or maybe within our own planet?
yeah.
Absolutely, just because we
So
kind of see it. And again, the movies, I mean, they're obviously not real, but at the same
right,
time, there's that
there's that,
kernel,
yeah, and
there's
that,
that small thing, and
yeah,
someone had to think about that or
yeah.
be inspired by
That's right.
something
That's right.
to write that.
Or several
So
people to write that. You know what I mean? Like relative at the all at the
yeah,
same
like
time
they
kind of
didn't
thing. You
just
know?
pull these ideas out of
Yeah.
their booty holes.
It's interesting. I don't know if I, like I said, I don't know if I subscribe to the dimensional. Although there's a movie The Mist that a lot of people hated. Or not The Mist. Yeah, it was The Mist. It was The Mist, not The Fog. The Mist. And I thought it was phenomenal. And that kind of like got me thinking about, okay, well, we don't know what the hell they're doing in military bases. You never know. But there have been astronauts who have said, yeah, we were in space and we saw stuff. In
Mhm.
fact, there's a famous story, take it with a grain of salt again, that was at Apollo 11 when they landed on the moon. They were talking to Houston and they were talking on the open line. There's two lines. There's an open line and then there's a medical line. And the medical line is like top secret kind of thing. And there were people who had picked it up supposedly on ham radio, like I don't know what you would call it. What's the technical term for it? Whatever, like short band radio. Like
Yeah,
people,
shortwave, short band. Yeah.
yeah, people are talking to themselves and or talking to themselves. Sorry, talking to people like across the world on these radio sets, and they picked it up and supposedly they were just like, yeah, they're sitting on the edge of the crater, they're watching us, like that kind of thing. I don't remember verbatim what was supposedly said, but they were saying, yeah, they're sitting there, we don't know what it is, they're watching us from the crater, and et cetera, et cetera. So,
Mm.
Mm.
but even if you just go like even say 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the astronauts who have were going up to the space station or whatever, they're all saying, yeah, we saw things, we things flew by, we didn't know what they were, you know. So, but I
Mm.
think that interplanetary is a thing. So intergalactic, I suppose.
Mm.
But I do believe that there's like a colony or colonies here, and I think that they're just like, you know what? Let's just maybe they're scientists, maybe they're scientist aliens or whatever that are just like, you know what? We got to take the ship up, see what's going on at whatever Nellis Air Force Base, or you know, so.
Is that maybe what Area 51 actually is?
So that's very interesting because the stories that come out of Area 51, you have Area 51, which is Groom Lake, and then you have like offshoot areas called like S4, for example. And let me state for the record, Bob Lazar has been talking about S4 and Area 51 for the past, was it 30 years? Nobody believed him. He just came out and said, I told you so. That's all he has to say. His story never changed, and they tried to discredit him. They in theory they said, but they erased his educational papers and stuff. They've still
Right.
found his name in hard copy phone books from the labs Los Alamos from where he was working. He's able to describe the lunchroom in Area 51, which has been corroborated by people who have been 100% proven to have been at Groom Lake. Like it's phenomenal. Anyways, they're saying that the main base, so like Area 51, which is actually just a portion of a map. That's how it got the name Area 51. It's actually, I think it's Groom Lake or Papoose Lake, maybe something like that, is top secret military testing facility, which I 100% believe because they were testing the F-117 and the B-2 bomber as well as the SR-71 Blackbird, which is, if you look up there, right there, those are the pilots right there in front of them, but the banner's in the way, but I got a picture of it. It's come out that they were all tested there because
Right.
there's mountain ranges all around. There's only one way in and one way out. So, and it's just a salt flat. It's completely flat. So they test things there. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's their main priority. But then you have places like S4, and there's military guys who have come out and said, hey, you know what? Yeah, there's bases inside the mountains, like satellite bases, I guess. Not satellite as in like space, but like just a base that's just like adjacent to another base, you know?
Right.
So inside the inside the mountains, and there I think that maybe they're trying to like reverse engineer because Bob Lazar himself said, yeah, we were reverse engineering. I think he called it the race car UFO
Okay.
or the sports car because there were like three different kinds or whatever. He's like, I never got to excuse me, I never got to work on anything more than the propulsion system, and we never did figure out how it works. I don't know where they're at now, but he was working, so it's very compartmentalized. So if somebody like Bob
Okay.
Lazar comes out, it's like, yeah, I was working on the propulsion system. Well, what else was there? Oh, I don't know what else there was in the ship. So it kind of discredits yourself, right? So,
Right. Right. So
so
yeah,
I,
that totally discredits what I was thinking then
what
too.
were you
Because
thinking?
well, I was thinking. So you're talking about them and having colonies and stuff like
Hmm.
that, right? Is Area 51 their home? Is
See,
that where they are? Are they
oh,
the ones that are teaching us what we know as technology today?
so there is that theory. I wouldn't put it past them to be honest with you. I think what we see on the top of Area 51 is like the sprinkles on top of an ice cream cone kind of thing.
Okay.
But there's stories of Dulce, Arizona, whatever. Dulce. They say there's a base under the mountain range there, or whatever. What do they call it? I don't even remember. My brain hurts. Anyways, they say there's stories that there's an underground base there, and that like whatever, say the first 5 or 6 stories are like where humans work, and then the 7th story is like where humans and aliens work together, and then the 8th downwards is where the aliens are all are, you know what I mean, doing their experiments. And
Right.
there's lots of people that go missing in in and around Dulce. There's lots of lights. There's lots of weird things happening. So yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if they are there, and they're kind of like giving help, I guess. But then on the opposite hand, like I said, the Scaliever in me says, well, if they're giving us help, why the hell don't we have it already? You know what I mean? Like, are they just slowly drip feeding us? Like, why would they do that? You know? So
Well, the same reason why you're not going to hand a child a vacuum and just be like, "Here you go."
give a
Right?
kid a
You're not going
gun.
to hand, a 1 year old a vacuum and be like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, you should already know what to do. Get at it."
that's a good
As
point.
opposed to taking the child and showing them how to
Right.
plug it in, and right. So
I guess that
that could
makes
very
sense.
well be. Yeah.
What's your thought on that, Mel? Like, are there underground
Well,
bases
they
that are like,
probably have it, and it's just they are greedy because they're people and they don't want to share it with the rest of us.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's funny. It's funny that you say it that way because I immediately think of Lord of the Rings. How like all the humans who got the rings all got corrupted. You know what I mean? It's just
And
very
that
Yeah.
just goes back to the
yeah,
kernel of truth.
yeah. No, fair enough. I just there's so
People
much.
suck,
Yeah,
elves are awesome.
that's right. There's just so many different paths that we can take here. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like from like I could just talk about Dulce for an hour about what's
But we're
happening
not
there.
going to because
No,
we
no,
only
no,
have 10
100%,
minutes left.
100%.
And
No, I
we're
know. I'm
going
not
to
going there.
short answer these questions because we still
I'm
have
not
a
going to
few
go
more
there yet.
questions that we wanted to get through.
Oh,
All right,
sorry.
ask away. Ask away, Mel.
Yeah. Carl, why do you think the government is telling us this shit now?
Because there's been such a demand for answers to come out. Because the United States had a president who said, "I'm going to release all of this," and then when that didn't happen, the government and the people became at arms and said, "You have to tell us because you had promised to tell us." So I think now they're going, "Okay, so you're right. It was promised to you, but we're only going to give you just this little bit of information right now because we still don't know how you people are going to take it. And we don't know if you people are going to rebel against it. So we're only going to spoon feed you just this little bit to appease
Right.
you for now." And I think that's really the only reason why we're starting to get this is because it was said, "You will get this," but then it didn't happen. And people are like, "Screw you. We want it."
Mm-hmm. What about you,
Was
Mel?
that short enough?
What about you, Mel? The same question to you.
I didn't know that the government promise was to like made to release the information, but like they did kind of already get us ready for the announcement by announcing that there were UFOs
Hmm.
and like the
UAPs actually.
whatever the
They
fuck the
changed.
acronym
They
is.
changed the word. So they changed the word, and yeah.
The point is they released that information and we were equally as underwhelmed with that
Mm-hmm.
as we were with the information of the aliens. And like, if it's one thing that people are known for, it's our consistency. So like, do I think that they should have given us the spoonful of sugar from the bag that they have? Probably not. They should probably give us at least a cup because this I do feel it's good that they've released some information, but now there's like generally the people are like not caring. But in a year or so that we are going to start hearing from these like whack job 10%ists who are on the far side of the scale who are going to be like, we want the bag, and we're going to have to deal with all of those lunatics being set loose on the internet with a louder voice. So, why are they giving it to us now? Probably because they were told they had to give it to us, and you can only deny a couple million people so long before they start to rage against the machine. Um, so yeah, I feel that they're not giving it to us because they want to, because they have to. Alex, what do you think?
I disagree. I think that if the government did want to tell us, they still wouldn't tell us. Nobody's going to overthrow the entire American military. It's never going to happen. Never can happen. What I do
Whoa,
think,
someone said the wrong thing to the Deep South.
nope, you'll never over. Think about how many black programs there are that we don't know about. Think about that,
About
and think
what?
about the black program. So like things that we don't know exist, but do exist that we just don't know about. Right? Just that alone, the idea is frightening. So, for example, the stealth bomber, the stealth fighter, SR-71, they were all black budget programs that nobody knew existed until like 20 years after they were made.
Mhm.
I don't think the military and the American government as we know it might be, but never the American military complex. Now, why are they giving us information now? This is my thought. My thought is that they are giving us stuff now so that we stop asking so many questions because something is coming. I'm not saying something is like physical, like aliens are coming in a ship. Something is going to happen soon. Art Bell famously called it the quickening. If you guys know who Art Bell is, called it the quickening. Everything's happening sooner and sooner and sooner. Whether it's school shootings, they used to happen few and far between. Now they're coming closer and closer and closer. They're giving us information, is my thought. They're giving us information to prepare us for what is going to come. They're saying, shit, we can't hide this anymore. We got to give them at least something so that when they do start seeing this shit in the sky, nobody's going to lose their mind. You know what I mean? Or lose their mind as crazy as they were before. So that's my thought.
I'm going to still lose my shit.
No, for sure. But knowing that the Navy and the military have seen these things, and it's like corroborating what you were seeing, you're now like, okay, well, at least we have the Navy and the military on this. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, anyways, I'll cut it off because I could go on forever for that one. But I just think that something's coming, and they're giving us information to kind of like kick us in the butt a little bit, you know?
I can hear my neighbors arguing outside. That's great.
What are they saying? Shall we start another podcast?
Just move the mic over to the windows, eavesdrop on them. That being said, we had one more question, but I don't think we have enough time to
What's the question?
What are the aliens' intentions?
Like I said, zoo planet.
Unknown.
Yeah, real quick, I actually had a conversation with a guy I was sort of seeing a while back. He thought that Earth was a science experiment from an alien, and that could be the big thing coming. We're in for a big reset. They're getting graded, and we're about to fail, you guys.
Alien high school.
This child that made us, they're getting an F.
He fucked up.
Yeah. Karl, real quick, what do you think?
Unknown. I can't speculate on it at this point.
Unless you're in a secret room.
Alex, you think they're mining us?
No, I don't think they're mining. I think that we're just like, it was an experiment at the beginning, kind of like a zoo, and they're just like, we'll let them go see what happens. But yeah, we got 2 minutes and 45 seconds, so. You can catch Mel at her list of wherever.
In the stuff that in the space that has that. Why am I still pointing over
I don't know, wrong side.
Jeepers Murphy. Melball Collins, Melball. Lots of stuff. Ta-da.
Wage Cannon.
Alex, not so much stuff.
Wage Cannon, Werewolf at the Movies, both on YouTube. Check it out.
Linktree, LA. Oh yeah.
There might be something else coming in the very, very, very near future.
Oh,
like it. A Linktree, linktr.ee/Karl Karufel, linktr.ee/KarlKarufel. And there is merch if you want to go and check out karlkarufel.redbubble.com, where you can find some ParaMindful merchandise as well.
Spooky ooky merch. And do you guys have anything else to say to beautiful people before we get out of here?
Love each other. Be kind. Things are going to get crazy.
Ditto.
Aliens are real. Live long and prosper. Hey, I got the right hand up here. And that being said, everyone, I am your Melball. Over there, got the point right, is the werewolf Alex. And down there is the gold standard Karl Karufel. We will see you next time. Keep her spooky.
Later.